Hello everyone and a very warm welcome to this video lecture series in which we are talking about how we can improve and optimize our neural network. So until in the previous video lecture, we have seen that how we can remove the problem of overfitting in our learning algorithm. And we have seen in a great detail that how does basically the L2 regularization technique works. And now in this video lecture, we are going to see some very new and interesting topic. That is, we are going to learn about dropout regularization, which is a very new technique that has been developed by the research scientist Sir Jafari Hinton and by Nathan Srivastav. And there is a extensive work that has been done regarding this topic of dropout regularization. And this is a very good technique in order to remove the problem of overfitting from our learning algorithm. So let us learn about dropout regularization in this video lecture. Let us continue and move over to the next slide. So what is dropout regularization? So here you can see that we have been given a neural network, and this is a very deep neural network that we are supposing here. And so, since this is a very deep neural network, so it is more likely that this would cause a problem of overfitting over the training data set. Because suppose that if we take a neural network that does not has a very large number of layers, then that neural network, that is, if we are referring to the shallow neural networks, then the shallow neural networks are very less likely to cause the problem of overfitting over the training data set. But if you are considering over to the deep neural networks, then deep neural networks generally cause or face the problem of overfitting to the training data set. And thus, because of this overfitting problem, these type of learning algorithms are not able to perform well in the development set and as well as in the testing data sets also. So this is basically a deep neural network that has been given to us. Now, if I take another neural network similar to this, and now what I need to do is basically I need to perform the dropout in this neural network. So what is basically the meaning of dropout here? Let us see. So what I do is basically I have the probabilities now with me, and suppose that there is a zero point 0.5 probability that I can remove any node from this neural network. So suppose that I take this node and I assign a random constant number, a random number to this node that has a value between 0 and 1. Okay. And so if this probability of this node is less than zero point 0.5, then I have an option that I can take this node. Okay. And if the probability of this node is greater than zero point 0.5, then I have an option that I can eliminate this node. So for this layer, this first layer, I have the parameter, that is the probability, as a constant that is equal to zero point 0.5. And therefore 0.5 is my testing probability here for this layer. Similarly, for the other layer also, I am keeping a constant probability of zero point 0.5. Now there should be a question in your mind that as why I am taking a probability of zero point 0.5, a constant here. So it is up to you that what amount of probability or a parameter that you are fixing for each and every node. It is possible that you take all the probabilities same for each and every layer of the neural network, and it is also possible that you take different probabilities for each and every layer. So basically what this probability is, this probability is basically the outpass, or basically the passing parameter, that if a particular node has a probability less than this probability, that is zero point 0.5, then this node is eligible for being kept in this neural network. And if a certain node has a probability greater than zero point 0.5, then I need to eliminate that node from the neural network. And basically what I mean by eliminating this node, so basically all the inputs to this node will now be eliminated. And similarly, since we are having no inputs to this node, so again, this node would not be able to generate any output also. So inputs as well as outputs for this node would now be switched off. Okay, so basically this is the meaning of dropout that we are talking in this video lecture. And by dropout we mean that we need to eliminate the nodes on the random basis. Okay, so this is basically the fundamentals of dropout regularization. And now suppose that we have been performing the dropout regularization, and in the first layer, let us suppose that this is the node that has been eliminated, and this is the node that has been eliminated based on the probability checkup. Okay, and from the second layer, suppose that this is the node that has been eliminated, and this is the node, the last one, that has been eliminated from this layer. And again, from the layer 3, suppose that this is the node that we need to eliminate, and this is the node that we need to eliminate. So these cross ones are all the nodes that have the probability that is greater than 0.5, and hence we are eliminating this node in this round. Okay, now the final predicted output y hat would be a result of all the nodes that have not been removed from this deep neural network. Okay, so this basically reduces the problem of overfitting in the learning algorithm, and this is what the dropout regularization corresponds to. So now, after removing all the nodes which have crosses, so by removing all these nodes, we mean that we need to remove the inputs to these nodes, and then we are removing the outputs from these nodes also. Okay, so we have a neural network that now has a very less number of nodes in comparison to our original neural network. Okay, and hence the overfitting problem of a neural network is significantly decreased in this process. Okay, now let us continue and move to the next slide. And in the next slide, we are going to basically talk about dropout regularization, which is often called as the inverted regularization, inverted dropout regularization. Why? Because there are several techniques that you can carry out in order to drop out the nodes from the neural network. But I feel that inverted dropout regularization is a very good method that we can use in order to perform the dropout. So let us continue and move over to the next video lecture. Next slide. Okay, so in this slide, we are going to see about the inverted dropout. And let us suppose that we need to illustrate this. We need to illustrate this inverted dropout for layer L equal to 3. So for the third layer, what we are going to do, we are going to implement this concept of inverted dropout. And now for implementing this concept, what I need to first do is I need to have a variable D3, and this variable D3 would basically be storing the vector where some values would be 0 and some values would be 1. Now, what I mean by 0 and 1, now suppose that if a particular node is having the probability that is less than the probability that I have decided, okay, and I call, suppose that 0.5 is the probability that I have decided. So let us now assume that 0.5 is the decided probability. Okay, and if the probability of a particular node is less than the decided probability, then I need to keep this node. Okay, so 1 will be corresponding that I need to keep this node. Okay, and suppose that a particular node has a probability greater than the decided probability, that is 0.5, then 0 will correspond to that node because I need to drop out that node from my neural network. So what would be the code in order to write D3? So it would be basically what we need to do first. We need to create a vector of random numbers. So for creating random number vector in NumPy, what we need to do is np dot random dot rand and inside brackets. Now what would be the dimensions of this vector d3? Basically the dimension of this vector d3 would be same as the dimension of the activation function that is corresponding to the third layer of this neural network. Okay, and suppose that we represent this activation function as a3, then what would be the dimensions of a3? The rows of this a3 would be represented as a3 dot shape. Okay, and inside square brackets 0, and number of columns would be a3 dot shape, and inside square brackets we are going to write as 1. Okay, and further we need to check that whether this probability is less than the decided probability, and here I write the decided probability as keep prob. Suppose why? Because if the random number that we are assuming is less than the keep prob, the decided probability, then we need to keep that node in our neural network. Okay, so for now, suppose that I take my keep prob as equal to 0.8. So what this keep prob equal to 0.8 corresponds is, if I have a probability that is less than 0.8 for a particular node, then there is a chance that I need to keep that node in my neural network. And if this probability is greater than 0.8, then I don't need to involve this node in my neural network. So basically what I need to say is there is 80% chance of a node to get involved in my neural network, and there is a 20% chance that a particular node will face a dropout of my neural network. Okay, so this is the key prob or the decided probability that we say corresponding to a neural network. And now after making a vector of d3, what I need to do is I need to multiply d3 by a3, because what will happen now, this d3 would be a vector that would be containing true and falses. Why? Because if this random number is less than key prop, then it will generate a true, and if this random number is greater than key prop, then this will generate false. Okay, so if true, then it is equal to 1, and if false, then it is equal to 0. So ultimately this would be a vector that would be comprising of zeros and ones. One means that you need to keep that particular node in the neural network, and 0 means that you don't need to eliminate this node from the neural network. So the now next step would be I need to create a activation function a3. This activation function is basically a vector that is a multiplication of d3 and ap. So for multiplication, we need to do element wise multiplication in this. So the formula for this is np dot multiply, and in brackets I need to write a3 and d3, because I need to have the element wise multiplication of a3 as with d3. Okay, and suppose that you're not using numpy, then how you can perform element wise multiplication here is you could also write this as a3 star equal to d3. So this would also be a way in which you can perform element wise multiplication of a3 and d3 in Python. Okay, and now what you need to do is you need to give a boost, or you need to uplift the activation function a3, and this would be shown as a3 equal to, what you need to do is basically you need to divide this a3 by the key prop parameter. So a3 divide equal to key prop, and again since we want to do the element wise division, so we are writing this code in Python, a3 divide equal to key prob. So this will divide each and every element of the activation function A3 with the key prop that is equal to 0.8. Now, what is the reason behind why I am using this step? A3 divide equal to key prop. I'll show you in a second now. So basically, suppose that I have 50 units in this third layer. So what will happen now? Since my key prob is equal to 0.8, so basically this corresponds that there is a 80% chance that the node is kept in the neural network. That is, I need to include this node for working in this neural network, and there is a 20% chance that this node would be eliminated from my neural network. And if I have a total number of 50 nodes, then what this 20 corresponds to 20% is equal to the 10 nodes, and this is 40 nodes. So on an approximation, 40 nodes would be included in my neural network and 10 nodes would be removed from my neural network after this inverted dropout. Okay. And now what I need to write my output Z as for the third layer. For the fourth layer, it would be Z of 4, that is equal to W of 4 and activation function of the previous layer, that is A3, that we have found out using dropout regularization, plus the bias for this layer, that is equal to B of 4. Okay. So now what we are doing here, we are basically finding Z4 for the next layer, and this Z4 would include the activation for the third layer. And suppose that I have only performed the inverted dropout till this step, and now I am not including this step. So what will happen now? Since we are having some zeros and ones in this D3 and we are multiplying this D3 with A3, so some of the nodes of A3, okay, would be removed, and this will cause an adverse effect over the Z4. Why? Because now Z4 is using the value of A3. Okay. So this A3, if I'm not performing this step, would be pumped down by approximately 20% now. Why? Because there are 10 units from this A3 that are removed for calculation or removed for performing any task in this neural network. Okay. So what I need to basically do is, in order to create any indifference in the output, I need to pump this A3 up by again 20%. Okay. And if I want to pump up this A3 by again 20%, then how I can do this pump up operation? I can divide simply A3, each and every element. I can divide each and every element of this A3 vector by the key prob. So now what my key prob is, my key prob is 0.8. So my keep, this would be A3 slash equal to 0.8. So whenever there is a probability, suppose that it is A3 of 1, so it is the first element of this matrix, and if I divide it by 0.8, now this operation, what will do, this will pump up the value of A3 of 1. Okay. So this I basically need you to understand, that by pumping up the value of A3, we are not having a distortion in the value of Z4 now. Okay. So this is basically called as the inverted dropout, and this is the inversion step that we are performing here. Okay. And this is the reason that it is called as the inverted dropout. Okay. And this is a very important method. Many of people often do that, they don't involve this step while doing the dropout, and that is often called as the simple dropout. But I often recommend you that you need to perform the inverted dropout in order to have unbiased result in the learning algorithm. Okay. Now let us move to the next slide and see that how we can make prediction at the testing time. Okay. So let us move to the next slide. Now it is the time that we should see that how we can actually make prediction at the time of testing our learning algorithm. Now, at the time of testing our learning algorithm, suppose that I have some input x, and this input x is often represented as a of 0 in the form of activation function. Okay, so basically this input x is represented as activation function for the layer 0. Okay, and now what I need to do is I don't need to perform any dropout in the time of testing. Okay, so no dropout at the time of testing. Okay, so this has to be remembered, that you don't need to perform any dropout at the time of testing. And what would be my testing steps? Now I need to have the value of z1, and this z1 would be equal to w1 and multiplied with activation function a of 0, or often called as the input feature x, plus bias for this first layer. And now with the value of z1 applied to an activation function, I need to have the value of a1, and this would be as g1. Okay, and inside g1 I would be applying this value of z1, and similarly I am going to have the value of z2, and that would be equal to w2. We would have a1 value here plus b2. Okay, and now I need to find the value of a2, and we suppose that we would have another activation function g2 here, and inside this activation function I have this z2 applied here. Okay, and in this way you are going to perform these iterations, and finally you are going to find out the value of y hat here. Okay, now why I am exactly not doing any dropout at the time of testing here is that I don't want to have any uncertain outputs here. Why? Because at the time of dropout, what are you going to do basically is that you're going to perform the iterations a multiple number of times. Okay, so what I need to mention here is that in the previous slide, what we have done is we have assigned some random numbers, and the vector size of this random number would be same as the activation function for the particular layer. Okay, and what will happen that if you again run this program, then a different set of random numbers would be allotted to this vector. Okay, and if different random numbers are allotted to this network, this layer, then what will happen is it is a probability that different set of nodes would now be eliminated from this neural network. Okay, and if different nodes are now eliminated from this neural network, then it is possible that a different result would be gained from this neural network. So you need to perform a various number of iterations in this algorithm, and you can keep a check as on which iteration you got the maximum accuracy of this learning algorithm. Okay, and each and every time there would be a variation in my output value. Okay, there would be change in the error rates, and there would be change in the accuracy percentage in each and every iteration. Okay, so what you can do is you can also take this key prop parameter as a hyperparameter 0.8. Okay, and suppose that if you take the value of this as 0.9, then what is the improvement or decrement in the accuracy? Or suppose that if you take the key prop parameter as 0.3, that is a very less. So what is the change in basically the accuracy and the error rates when you take up a particular key prop parameter? So you need to keep out multiple iterations here, and in each and every iteration you are going to have the computations with different set of nodes. Okay, and each and every set of nodes would give you a different output. Okay, so it is clear to us now that how this inverted dropout basically works. Okay, and it is to be noted that at the time of the test time, you don't need to perform any of the dropout techniques. Okay, because you don't need to, because you don't wish to have the variable outputs at the time of testing. Okay, so I hope this much is clear to you, and this is all about the inverted dropout. Okay, in the next video lecture we are going to discuss something more about this dropout, and we are going to have an intuition of how this dropout basically works. Okay, so I hope this video lecture would have been very much informative to you. If you really love this video lecture, then hit the like button, and if you have any doubts regarding this video lecture, then you can write in the comment section given below. If you really like this video lecture series and all my work, then you can share my YouTube channel. Okay, and you can share this video lectures also, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I hope I would be creating more such content that would be very much informative to you. Thank you so much. Have a good day.